If you're seeking a job, a resume is an important tool to have. Some wonder if a resume is really necessary. The answer is yes, definitely. Consider this. Let's say you want to watch a movie, but you don't know what movies are out there, so you go online to check out what's available. You find a list of new titles. With just a name, you have no idea if it's a comedy, drama, or action film, or if it features any of your favorite actors. But when you click on each title, you get the chance to read a brief overview and start getting a much better sense about the particular movie. You learn the basics about the plot, which year it came out, who stars in it, maybe even some reviews. If it's enough to gain your interest, you might take the next step and watch the trailer. If the trailer looks good, you watch it. In the same manner, your resume provides a summary of who you are. It's a marketing tool designed to answer some basic questions and win the interest of the employer. It provides the key facts that will help them know you have the skills, ambition, and enthusiasm that makes it worth taking the next step in the interview process.
No matter where you are in your work life, your resume will serve as your calling card. Even if you don't have a lot of experience, have a gap in your work history, or you've been incarcerated, remember, employers want to know what you've learned and what you can bring to the job moving forward.
In just 5 minutes, we'll show you a good format, the key elements, and guidance to create a good resume of your own. A quick note, there's a difference between a resume and application. An application is a form that requests specific info. You might be asked to fill it out before an interview. It does not take the place of a resume. You choose what you want to include on a resume in your own words. There are plenty of resume formats to choose. While there's no standard format, it's important to cut through the clutter. Your resume, which will typically be typed on one side of an 8.5 by 11-inch page, should include 5 key sections, which are usually in this order. The header, a summary of yourself, your experience, education and certifications, and additional related experience. Is longer better? In today's busy world, it's better to get to the point. Try to be concise. Keep yours to no more than 2 pages. Before we look at what goes into your resume, let's consider what to leave out. There's no need to include what you earned in your past jobs or reasons for leaving a position. Don't include personal info such as your marital status, children, height, or age. Avoid including religious and political beliefs. And never stretch the truth. That can come back to haunt later. People often wonder if they need to list references on a resume. It's not necessary. However, you may be asked for references, so you should be prepared with a list of 2 or 3 people, possibly a former employer who is pleased with your work, a work colleague, or a personal reference who is not a family member who can speak to your character. Make sure to ask their permission first, and then have a prepared list with names, phone numbers, or email addresses to share. Now, let's look at each section and some examples, starting with the header. This section, centered at the top, includes your name and, if possible, your mailing address, email, and phone number. Include as much of that information that's available. A quick tip, if you include a phone number, make sure your outgoing message is clear and professional. The same holds true for your email address, and don't forget to check your outgoing voicemail message. The summary is the first part of the resume, and maybe the most important part because it captures who you really are. It's like a headline or elevator pitch that lets the employer see at a glance why you are a suitable candidate for the job. It's a sentence or two that includes adjectives and phrases that describe you, spotlights your key strengths, and might indicate your enthusiasm for a particular field. Here's an example. Notice the use of adjectives: motivated, trusted, dependable, flexible. All are characteristics and attitudes that employers seek. A few other terms might be hardworking, persistent, problem solver. If you have specific experience, you can mention it here, such as experienced welder or experienced food service worker. The next section deals specifically with experience. Here you will provide a list of positions that you've held, along with the dates you performed the job and some highlights of the skills you utilized. In particular, emphasize any positive outcomes you achieved. If you have a history of job experience, you will list it from the most recent to the oldest, but only go back about 15 years. If you don't have formal job experience, you can list responsibilities that you've performed. For instance, as a volunteer, doing yard work, child or elder care. Think about the things you have accomplished that require skills or attitudes that would be valued on the job. Let's take a look at some examples. Note how the company name is listed first, followed by the city and state. On the next line, list your position such as order picker, crew member, or welder, followed by the dates you held that position. If you still hold that job, you can indicate the date you started to the present. Then, using bullet points, you can highlight some key activities for each job and include phrases that convey the skills you used and positive results. For instance, as an order picker, using a forklift and cherry picker are excellent skills. But another skill that you might not think of is the fact that you accurately selected merchandise that was indicated on an order sheet. The ability to be accurate will be valued by an employer. So when you think about your skills, think about everything you bring to the table. In this example, prepped food is a good skill, but adding the phrase, "so it was ready for the morning crew," really shows your value in understanding the importance of your job well done. Reading blueprints is a great skill. Reading them to ensure work was done to specification adds value. Employers appreciate that you are thinking about the value you bring to the job and the company you are working for. Tip: limit bullet points under each job to no more than 6. Here's another example. Feel free to pause the video to take a closer look. What if I was incarcerated? If you experienced a period of time when you were not employed, whether it was due to a layoff, lack of work, injury, or incarceration, it's not necessary to give reasons, but you will want to be prepared to speak about that time if asked about a gap during an interview. Employers want to know who you are now and the value you bring moving forward. In some cases, you may have performed job tasks while incarcerated. This is valuable, and you should include it on your resume. Here's an example. Next, under the heading Education and Certifications, list your schooling, any degrees you've earned or that are underway, special training courses you've completed, and possible certifications. Here are some examples. If a degree or certification is in progress, you can simply note it. Make sure to note vocational courses and special licenses. Even if you did not graduate from a program, note the coursework that you completed. The last section, Additional Related Experience, is a great place to indicate any organizations you belong to, achievements or awards, even hobbies that might be related to the work you are seeking. It's best to leave out activities that promote specific political or religious viewpoints. Now, let's take a look at these 5 parts all together. Feel free to pause at any point. The header is centered at the top, followed by a summary that captures who you are, like a book jacket that invites someone to read more. It includes adjectives and phrases that describe you, spotlights your key strengths, and might indicate your enthusiasm for a particular field. Your experience follows. When you indicate a position, include the skills you used and the value you provided. This is followed by education, which could include a GED, high school graduation, college coursework, or certifications. Finish with additional experiences that help provide a well-rounded sense of who you are. Now it's your turn. You can use the examples we looked at as a reference as you write your own resume. It always helps to get a second opinion. You may want to share your resume with a professional you know who will provide you with feedback. If you are currently incarcerated, speak to your case manager for support. And for more assistance in preparing your resume, you are welcome to access free resources at PA CareerLink, Bucks County.